Last lesson for today is going to be on a simplified approach to drawing arms. Okay, so let's start with our robot. Okay, here's a first simple arm. Just trying to see if I get the focus a little better. There's a first simple arm for us, okay? And this arm has a lot of good qualities. There are a lot of things that are nice that can be seen in this arm. For instance, if the arm starts to come towards us, say that the arm was going to turn and be pointing towards us here. You see this shape? So that's not always an easy move to make. But if you're working with a robot arm, it's not that hard, right? You can just kind of move it. And I recommend really like taking this particular arm, this structural idea of the arm, kind of taking it out for a ride. And as you practice it, you'll get better at arms and you'll also get better at cylinders. Okay? But the arm, so this is the robot arm. And then I'm going to make you a diagram, a really simplified diagram of the arm from the front. And it's not a bad idea to just kind of memorize these diagrams. Okay, that's the arm in pronation. So the parts that you need are, you see this part up here? And here's its shape. Kind of has that shape, okay? And that's the deltoid. And then you move into the area of the bicep. Everybody knows the bicep. And that guy forms this little point and it goes between these other muscles. And the thumb. We can just do like a little triangle for the fingers, okay? So you see how this in supination, which is turned over, looks like a fish. Can you see how it's like a little fish head right there? Kind of like biting onto that part of the arm. That's a nice way to remember that. And this here, it's it tucks in underneath the deltoid, okay? Another piece that's kind of critical when you're starting to draw the arm is the pectoralis, which comes in from this way and actually goes between the bicep and the deltoid. So it goes between this muscle and that muscle, okay? So that's from the front. Here's from the side. That's this shape seen from the side, okay? Okay, so here's, again, now this time, see this shape has changed a little bit when you're looking at it from the side. Here's the pec, there's the back, here's the deltoid right there. And you could just see it as like a circle, a triangle, like that. And then now there's a fish head, the bicep right there, okay? And you're seeing the beginnings, you're seeing the side plane of, you can put a line through these, through the bicep and the tricep. There's actually a little muscle that goes from right here down to the elbow, right in there, okay? And it separates out the bicep from the tricep. And then here's from the back. This is the muscle that's on the scapula. That's the deltoid. Now we move into the upper arm region, but on the back, what we see is we see the tricep. Here's the elbow. Notice the big bulge there, the smaller one there. Okay, so you can kind of just take these 4 diagrams and it just is, there's nothing wrong with just sitting down and memorizing a couple of diagrams of how that goes. And there's a lot to it, but you can get away with surprisingly little too. Okay, and then I'm going to give you some kind of anatomy shortcuts here, some things that are really helpful in trying to draw the arm. So one of the things that's very helpful is that that part of the arm becomes square, and this part of the arm here gets really bulky. One tool to think about that is like a drumstick. You see a sort of shape like this, where this guy here is big and round. That's right here. This guy here is big and round. And this guy here is mostly bones and tendons, but there's a bunch of muscles up in here, okay? So when you're drawing a person, if you just bulk this part of it out, that's really helpful. And then this part down here becomes kind of squared off. Another thing that's, so now as you have these muscles and as the arm moves, like let's say we have this arm here, we'll start out with a robot arm. Okay, there's our robot arm. And we know that we've got a big set of muscles right through here, right? And we know that there's the deltoid muscle is right there. So look what happens. Remember the pillow that we did the squash and stretch on? So let's take this and change it to this. And so we're going to get this big squash of muscle in here. And this is going to stretch right there. And if we raise it, then this muscle squashes. The tricep on the back of the arm, it has this one way of thinking about it is almost like kind of like long hair, like you can see like a smiley face here. And it's a person with long hair. And then I just added that one little piece to add some thickness to it. The bicep, which is right here, has a tendency to be more square than what you think. It just ends up being a kind of a squared off muscle. So like I'm showing it here as really squared off. You see this right there? I think that that is just such an important part where you've got, there's a bone here, okay, and there's a bone in here, a bigger bone in here, and there's this muscle that attaches all the way up here, and it comes over high and comes around to the thumb. And I think that that muscle is really important, and that the arm, when although we shape this robot arm, we use this to start an arm. The form of the arm becomes more convincing when we bridge this gap on the thumb side with a bulge, okay? The only time we start to see less and less of the deltoid right here is if the arm starts to tilt backwards and raise up, like we're gonna like hit something with a hammer. Like you can get behind, you could get underneath the arm as it's raising, such that you can't see much of the deltoid. See, but I have to be way underneath the arm to not see much of the deltoid. Now in this case, here's the back muscles. There's the pectoralis. Here's the armpit, right in there. And now I'm going to be looking almost directly into the triceps, the bottom of the arm, and the biceps would be happening there. And the thumb side is going to be here. And because the thumb side is there, I've got this bulge happening right here, okay? And I think that's a good little starter for the arm.